Hi, in this video we are going to solve this review set. This review set has 11 problems and you have the solution for that actually. But in this video I'm going to show you how to solve each and every problem in here. Okay, the first question is a permutation question, or rather a combination. We have to check whether it's permutation or combination. Okay. So it says a team of 8 is chosen. So it's definitely a combination question from 11 men and 7 women. How many different teams are possible if there are no restriction? So no restriction, there is absolutely no restriction. So you need to choose 8 from 18. Okay, therefore it's just 18C8. There is no restriction. The second question is 4 of each sex on each team. So 4 of men and 4 of women. So the first 4 could be selected from 11, therefore 11C4, and therefore it's multiplication. And 4 women can be selected from 7 women, which is 7C4. Okay, so this is for question B. At least 2 women on the team. So it's either 2 women or 3 women or 4 women or 7 women, right? Which means you cannot have the set less than 2 women, right? So which means you cannot have the set with 0 women and 8 men. You cannot have the set with 1 woman and 7 men, right? You can have start with 2 women, 6 men, or 3 women, 5 men, and so on. These are possible, but this is not possible. Therefore it's easy. You can see that this is a bigger one than this, right? So you can just find out the probability of these two and subtract it from 1. Okay, so what's the probability of 0 women and 8 men? Which would be 7C0 and 11C8, right? And then one woman and 7 men would be 7C1 and 11C7, right? So this or this, either this or this, therefore it has to be added. So the 7C0 times 11C8 plus 7C1 times 11C7. Okay, so I can use calculator to solve this, to find out these numbers. So if I use my graphing calculator here, I can see that 18C8 is 43758. This is the number that from which we are going to subtract the answers. Okay, then the combinations we want here is 7C0, which is 1. We need 11C8, so we need to just plug in this place 11C8 and you'll get 165. So this is 165 plus, and if you plug in the values here as let's see what are the numbers. 7C1 is 7, so we know that it's 7 times 11C7 is what we need. Now 11C7, I'm using TI Inspire, and times 7. Let me get you the total answer. Okay, so 2310. Fine. So this is 2310 plus 165. You would be getting 5, 7, 4 and 2, and you need to subtract this from 43758, which is 18C8 minus this much, because 18C8 is the total number of combinations, the whole thing, and we are subtracting this part, okay, in order to get this. So 18C8, which is 43758, and subtract this, and whatever answer you are getting would be the answer for at least 2 women on the team. Okay, I hope you understood this. The next question is a 4-digit number is constructed using the digits 0 to 9 once only. Okay, how many numbers are possible? We have totally 10 numbers, so there are 10 factorial. No, because a number cannot start with a 0, right? So we have 10 numbers, 10 places but 9 numbers. Okay, the first number, so you can have totally 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. Okay, you have 10 places, but this place can be filled up only by 9 numbers. Okay, you cannot use 0 in this place, so the rest of the numbers can again be filled up by 9 numbers, because in this set we have 0 included. Okay, if, for example, if you have used a number 2 here, I can use anything from 0 1 3 4 up to 9, and you can see that there are 9 numbers here, and these can be arranged in any way we want, because the 0 can be placed in any part of this place, right? So once you choose a number for the first place, without 0 we have 9 numbers possible, 9 options there, and in the rest of the 9 places we have 9 numbers, therefore it is 9 factorial. So it's 9 times 9 factorial. Okay, and you can find out the answer for this using calculator. Going into the second part of this question, which is you need to find how many are divisible by 5. Okay, in this case you have 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. Okay, 10 numbers, 10 digits, and you need to find number of 10 digit numbers which are divisible by 5. Any number which is divisible by 5 should have a 0 or a 5 at the end, right? This is the only two numbers. These are the only two numbers that is possible to be present in the last digit if you are supposed to divide this by 5, if this is divisible by 5. Okay, now you have two options for this, right? And then if you come to this part, you cannot substitute a 0. Okay, so if a 0 has been substituted, you have to take it as two cases here. So one case is when you have a 0 being substituted here. Okay, say for example you have chosen the 0 and you have put it here. Okay, so in this case, what are the possible values that you can put in other places, other 9 digits? In this place you have 9 options left out, right? Because you have got a 0 here, so you have all the other 9 numbers that can be plugged into this place, and you have 8 more places left, 8 more digit left, and you have 8 more numbers. You have put one number here and you have put a number here. So there out of 10 numbers, there are 2 numbers which have already been used, so you have 8 factorial ways of filling up this place. So this is 9 times 8 factorial ways. In case if you have chosen to put a 5 here, in this case, in the first place, you can't put a 0 and you are left out with only 8 choices, because you cannot use 0 and you cannot use a 5, right? The 5 is already placed in the last digit. Therefore, you have only 8 options, and in these 8 places, you have chosen one number here and you have chosen the 5 here. Therefore, 2 numbers are already been chosen and you have 8 factorial ways to fill up the 8 places here. Therefore, this is 8 times 8 factorial times 1, which is here, right? So these are two options. When you say options, either the first case or the second case, which means that you need to add them both. The final answer would be 9 times 8 factorial plus 8 times 8 factorial. Okay, and you can simplify this using your calculator and give the final number of numbers here. This would give you the number of numbers, 10 digit numbers which are divisible by 5, that is, which end in 0 or 5. I'm skipping the third question. I'm going to question number 4. Expand square root of 3 plus 2 to the power of 5. You can use binomial expansion. So this is 5c0 square root of 3 to the power of 5 plus 5c1 square root of 3 to the power of 4. The square root of 3, the power of square root of 3 gets decreased and the power of 2 starts increasing, and the coefficients here are 5c1, 5c2, 5c3, etc. Okay, this is square root of 3 to the power of 3 and 2 to the power of 2 plus 5c3 square root of 3 to the power of 2, 2 cube, and 5c4 square root of 3 power 1 and 2 to the power of 4 plus 5c5, which is going to be 1. There is no square root of 3 now. This is 2 to the power of 5. Okay, so this is the expansion, but your answer should be in this form. So you need to simplify this further. I'll simplify this for you now. I have done two more steps here. I just simplified the two powers. 2 is 2, 2 is 2, and 2 square is 4, and 2 cube is 8, and I have simplified the 5c1, 5c2s and x and other things. And then I simplified the square root of 3. Power 5 is 9 root 3. Power 4 is 9 times 10 is 90, and so on. You can check how it is done. Okay. Here it is important to note that square root of 3 the whole square is 3. That's what I've used in this step. Okay, now simplify. Just add up all those square root of 3's and add up all the constants. So if you add 90, 240 and 32, it would be 90 plus 240 is 330, 330 plus 22 is 362, plus add up the square root 3's. So you'll be getting 129 plus 80 is 209 and square root of 3, and this is the final answer. As you must have noticed, the question, there is a mistake in the question. It cannot be square root of 2. It's supposed to be square root of 3. Okay, this is question number 5. We need to first expand 4 plus x to the power of 3 using binomial expansion. Okay, and then we have to find the exact value of 4.02 to the power of 3. So what is the connection between them? 4.02 can be written as 4 plus 0.02 to the power of 3, which means that the x is nothing but 0.02. So once you expand, wherever you have x in your expansion, you can substitute 0.02. Okay, let's expand here. This is 4 cube plus 3 times 4 square times x plus 3 times 4 times x square plus x cube, right? This should be 64 plus 48 x plus 12 x square plus x cube, and this is the expansion for 4 plus x to the power of 3 using binomial expansion. Now you are supposed to substitute x as 0.02. So which would be 64 plus 48 times 0.02 plus 12 times 0.02 the whole square plus 0.02 to the power of 3. Okay, which would be 64 plus 96 and 2 decimal places 0.96 plus 12 times, this is 12 times 0.0004, right, which would be 0.0048, and this is expanding, this would give me 6 decimal places there. Okay, now adding them all, you'll get 64.964808, and this would be the answer for 4.02 the whole to the power of 3, and you can check that with your calculator. Here 4.02 power 3 is 64.9648, and 64.964808 is what you got. Okay, now question number 6 and 7 are the same almost. The concept is the same. For these questions, you are supposed to use the concept of, r plus 1, the term number r plus 1. The formula is NCR x to the power of n minus r y to the power of r. Okay, if you are expanding x plus y to the power of n. Okay, for this expansion, the r plus 1th term would be NCR x power n minus r y to the power of r. This is what you are supposed to use to find values, to solve these questions. So the first question is, you are supposed to find the constant term. The constant term has no x values, right? Which means you have the power of x to be 0. So you need to look for the term which has x to the power of 0. Clear? So let's use this formula, that is the r plus 1. The term is ncr x power n minus r y power r, okay, which would be n is 8, 8cr, we don't know which term is going to give you the constant term, and 3x squared to the power of n is 8 minus r. This is the x part, and the y part is 1 over x. So 1 over x to the power of r, okay. And the value for this, we need to find which term it is. So 8cr, we'll simplify all the brackets here. 3 to the power of 8 minus r, keep all the r's as it is. 8 to the x to the power of 16 minus 2r, I'm expanding 2 and 8 minus r, times 1 over x is x to the power of minus 1, therefore this is x to the power of minus r. Okay, combine all the x terms together into one single x. Okay, so I can write this as tr plus 1. Okay, one single term, which would be 16 minus 2r minus r, which would give me the r plus 1 term is x to the power of 16 minus 3r. Okay, any term is will have this format for this particular expansion. Every term would have, say for example, if you have the first term, let's see, the first term would be 0 plus 1, right? When r is equal to 0, you'll get t1, which is the first term, would be 8c0. Remember, r is 0. Okay, 8c0, 3 to the power of 8, x to the power of 16 minus 0, right? And you can go back and check. If you expand it, the first term would be 3 to the power of 3x square to the power of 8, correct? Which is 3 to the power of 8 and x to the power of 16, and that's what we had. 8c0 is 1, 3 power 8, x power 16. And if you want to find the second term, this would be 8c1, 3 to the power of 8 minus 1 is 7, and x to the power of 16 minus 3 is 13. And if you expand it, the second term would be 8c1, 3x square to the power of 7 times 1 over x to the power of 1, which is power 1, right? So this would be 3 to the power of 7, 3 to the power of 7, and x to the power of 14 minus 1 is 13. So this is a general term. This is the general term for the expansion given there. Okay, now our question is not to find the general term. It is we are supposed to find the coefficient for which the x power is 0, right? So you can see that in this case the x power is 16 minus 3r. So we are looking for the place where 16 minus 3r is equal to 0. So the r would be 16 over 3. Okay, in this case 16 over 3 is not possible. There is no integer. It doesn't give you the any integer value. Okay, therefore there is no term which is a constant, which is free of x. Okay, 16 minus 3r gives me the r value as a rational number, right? I cannot have the number of terms to be a rational number. Therefore there is no place where 16 minus r is equal to 0, which means there is no x power 0 term, which means there is no constant term. Okay, if at all you had a constant term, that is, if at all you had the value of r as integer, then you need to just substitute the value of r in this, and you need to give the coefficient of that. We'll do that in the next question, question number 7. Okay, if you see question number 7, it's asking for coefficient of x to the power of minus 6, which means the power of x is to be equated to minus 6. So we proceed in the same way. We start for tr plus 1, which is ncr, x to the power of n minus r, y to the power of r. This is the formula. And in our case, n is 12 for question number 7. And then x is 2x to the power of n. N is 12. I can replace n as 12. So 12 minus r, and in this case y is minus 3 over x square to the power of r is what we are supposed to be finding out. Now 12cr, and I'm splitting up all the constants and the x's separately, which would be 2 to the power of 12 minus r, x to the power of 12 minus r, and I'll write this as minus 3 to the power of r and x to the power of minus 2r. I'll take the minus with the 3 and not with the x. Okay, and then I'm collecting all non-x terms together so that later I'll get the coefficient with them. This will form the coefficient, and the x part is 12 minus r minus 2r would be 12 minus 3r. Now we are looking for the power of x to be minus 6. Therefore our concentration is on finding the r for which this is equal to minus 6. So which means that minus 3r is equal to minus 18. Therefore r is 6. So we have a proper integer here, which means that when r is equal to 6, that is the seventh term will have 12 minus 3r to be equal to minus 6. The seventh term would be x to the power of minus 6. Okay, so that's not our problem. Our problem is not the question is not which term. If the question was which term would have x to the power of minus 6, then your answer should be seventh term. Okay, now you can stop there if this was the question. But now the question is to find the coefficient, which means you are supposed to find this value when r is equal to 6. Okay, that's not going to be difficult. So coefficient is 12c6, 12 to the power of 6 minus 3 to the power of 6, right? And you can use your calculator and simplify this answer. This is a number and you'll get a number for this. Okay, and this is the coefficient, and stop there. Number 8. In this question you are supposed to find the coefficient of the term which has x power 5, which is easy, but here you have two brackets, two terms being multiplied. This is to the power of 1 and this is to the power of 6, and remember there is a minus sign here. So when you expand, you keep the first part as it is because it's to the power of 1. If it is not, then you need to expand this to some extent. And the second term can be expanded, which would be expanded like x to the power of 6. Okay, and the second term would be minus because it's x minus 2 power 6, therefore 6 x to the power of 5 times 2. Next would be plus 15 x to the power of 4 times 2 square minus, and so on, right? I'm not going to write them. I'll tell you why. When you multiply, you are only looking for x power 5. So the places where you get x power 5 with x power 1, and here you can assume this as x power 0, right? So x power 1 times x power 4 would give you x power 5, right? You start multiplying term by term, and when you start multiplying this term with this term, you'll get an x power 5, which means that it's 2 times 15 times 2 square x power 5, right? And then when you start multiplying this term one by one, you can identify that this times this would give you x power 5, which is plus 3 times 6 times 2, but this is a negative part because you have a negative sign here. Okay, therefore the final answer would be, this has an x power 5 here. The final answer would be this, which is 30 times 4, 120 x power 5, and this is a minus, therefore minus 12 36 x to the power of 5, right? So you have, what you have done here is you instead of multiplying all the terms and picking up the x power 5, you have avoided writing everything, and you have just picked up by trial, you have just picked up those terms which would have x power 5 in them. Okay, so you stopped where it is not going to matter when you are looking for this answer. Okay, so when you subtract, you can subtract the 120 and minus 36, you would be getting it's a 4 and 84x to the power of 5, right? Now you are not supposed to give the answer as 84x power 5 because the question is asking for the coefficient. Therefore the coefficient is 84. Okay, this is question number 9. You are supposed to find the value of a. There is an a here. Sorry, the copying is not very clear, but you can see that in your PDF file. Question number 9 is here. Find all possibles of values of a if the coefficient of x cube in this expansion 2x plus 1 over ax square of power 9 is 288. Okay, so that's what we are going to do, and this is a plus. So the question is actually 2x plus 1 over ax square to the power of 9, and it's given that coefficient of x cube is 288. Okay, so you need to just look for the x cube term, and it's easier to go with this formula, y to the power of r, and in this case it's 9cr, x is 2x to the power of 9 minus r, and 1 over ax square to the power of r, right? And collecting all non-x and x terms together, I think I don't need to explain anything more than this. A to the power of minus r, x to the power of 9 minus r minus 2r. I think I can collect them all together in one step now. 2 to the power of 9 minus r, a to the power of minus r, and x to the power of 9 minus 3r. Okay, now the question says that you have the third term, x power 3 term, not the third term, it's x power 3 term. So 9 minus 3r is equal to 3. Where did I get the 9 minus 3r? It's from the power of x. So the power of x is supposed to be 3. Therefore, this is equated to 3. Okay, which means that 3r is equal to minus 3r. Therefore, r is equal to 1. So that, which means the second term, right? The second term gives you x power 3. Just substitute. Don't worry about which term it is, but it says all possible values of a. So be careful. You might get more than one value for a. Okay. And the coefficient is this part, and this is given as 288. Therefore 9c1, 2 to the power of 9 minus 1, a to the power of minus 1 is equal to 288. Okay, you are supposed to find all possible values of a. So which is 9c1 is 9 times 2 to the power of 8 over a is equal to 288. Okay, so which means a is 9 times 2 to the power of 8 divided by 288. Clear? So that's it. Yeah, there is a problem here, as I was wondering why I'm not getting two values. This is not minus 3 and this is minus 6, therefore this is 2. Okay, so this is supposed to be 2, a 2 here and a 2 here. Okay, so this would be 9c2, which you can find from calculator, or you can just use 9 times 8 divided by 2 times 1, which would give you 36. Okay, let me rub off the wrong things that we just did. Okay, and this is supposed to be 9 minus 2, which would be 7, and this is a to the power of minus 2, which would be a square. Okay, so you will be getting 9c2, 2 to the power of 7 over 288 is a square, which means that a is plus or minus two values of whatever value you are getting when you simplify this. Okay, you can use calculator and simplify this, and your values for a, possible values of a is plus this one or minus this value. Okay, the next question is find term independent of x. This is another way of asking you to find the coefficient of or find the constant term. Independent of x is also called, otherwise called, constant term. So both are the same. It's the same question as before. You are supposed to find the constant term in the expansion of this. Use tr plus 1 formula. Okay, find the exact value of q if the constant term, again it's the constant term of this, is equal to this. So constant term of this, so when you expand this, the r plus 1 would be 8cr x cube to the power of 8 minus r times q over x cube to the power of r. And the other r1 r dash, maybe I can use 8c r dash, I'm using for this, x cube to the power of, sorry, this is 4 because it's to the power of 4. Okay, 4c r dash and x cube to the power of 4 minus r dash times q over x cube to the power of r dash. Okay, what it says is the constant terms of this is equal to this, right? So let's simplify this with all x together. Okay, the first one would be 8cr x to the power of 24 minus 3r times q to the power of r. I'm taking this 3r as minus 3r, and x cube, expanding this and this would give me 1 minus 3r, and this denominator 3 would give me another minus 3r, which means that the power of x is 24 minus 6r, correct? And in the second place, the power of x would be x to the power of 12 minus 3r dash minus 3r dash, right, times q to the power of r dash. And the power of x is 12 minus 6r dash, right? When this is equal to 0 and when is this equal to 0. So this is what we are supposed to find. We are supposed to find what is r, then r is 4 and r dash is 2. Okay, so substituting them for the coefficient for r is these two, coefficient for r dash is these two. Okay, so substitute them. The coefficient in first case is 8c4 q to the power of 4. Coefficient in the second case is 4c2 q to the power of 2. And when these two are equal, you are supposed to find the value of q, which is 8c4 q to the power of 4 is equal to 4c2 q to the power of 2. Okay, you can do this without calculator. 8c4 is 8 times 7 times 6 times 5 divided by 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. So 4 and 3 becomes cancels with 8, 3 cancels with 6 as 2, so 35 times 2 is 70. So 70 q to the power of 4. Actually I can cancel the q square and make this as q power 2, right? Q power 4 and q square can cancel, and 4c2 is again 4 times 3 divided by 2 times 1, which would be 6. So this is 6. So q square is equal to 6 over 70, and q is plus or minus square root of 6 over 70. Okay, this is the find the exact values. Okay, another catch here is the word exact, which means you're not supposed to be using calculator here. You can leave the answer within the square root as it is. You don't have to use calculator to simplify. Okay, so the two values of q is plus or minus square root of 6 over 40. Hope you understood this, and hope this was very helpful.